20 years I've lived here.
I've lived in this area over 35, just over 30 odd years.
Arrived in this country in 1975.
I've lived in Church Street area for approximately 50 years now.
It's got to be 21 years, I think.
Living in Church Street for about 32 years.
I've been here over 10 years.
I don't live here, but I work here.
To tell you quite frankly, it's a pleasure to walk up and down this street.
Yeah, my area is good. Yeah, and mostly my neighbor, they are from Iraq, and they are very friendly. Yeah, I'm only the Filipino who lives there.
I've got many friends now, which I never knew anybody when I came, except the one lady. And I've made many friends, different nationalities, all sorts.
It's very busy. It's the main market for this whole area. A lot of people come to buy their vegetables and fruits. And it's good fun on Saturday because you have a lot of varieties.
I love market. I go to the market every day, every Saturday.
I don't know, maybe because I live here, that's why I feel this kind of things, you know. I feel free and I'm happy.
I like my business first. Secondly, I like here people because they are different nationality, you know, so it's good.
Oh, I love it. I do, I really love it because the vegetables are so fresh and so cheap. Such a mixture. I really enjoy coming here. I come nearly every day. Fresh fruit and vegetables.
The fake jewelries and clothes and a lot of clothes are very much cheaper than the shops.
It's good, but majority is good. Customers. You always get the, alcohol. But the majority is good, polite.
It's a very mixed bunch, you know. You can get from somebody who'll spend 50p to somebody who'll spend 200 pounds.
It's the nearest to where I live, and I got all my stuff from here. It's easier and nicer, and you come down here, you meet a lot of friends.
It's not the same anymore. It's completely changed.
Yeah, the demographic population has totally changed.
The way it's changed, when I first came here 20 years ago, it probably was more English than now.
I came here in 1982, and in literally 30 years, when I came, there was a lot of ethnic English people here. Now there's a lot less, and there's a lot more other cultures around here.
I've seen the area change quite a lot. It's more Arab, it's more Muslim, it's more mixed race. There's still a lot of English, Scottish, Irish mixed. Okay. But it's more of an ethnic mix.
It's not this church I used to know 20 years ago.
It's a happy mix.
Okay.
You find a lot of nationalities and different languages with different people.
Unfortunately, a lot of English people decided to leave, but maybe they just wanted to retire somewhere else, which was great because then we get the lively people, the multicultural people that want to live here, that see the benefits, of living in this geographical location.
I make a lot of friends. There are all sorts of people, like all nationalities, and all very friendly.
When there's all different people taking over now, you know what I mean? It's not a proper justice.
Quite important. But this is a nice neighbourhood. It's actually the mix of the neighbourhood. Yeah. If I lived in a white neighbourhood, it'd be completely boring. I need black people, white people, green people, pink people. I need tartan people. I need a menu. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah, I guess. This is not America. Yeah. Black, white. Yeah. Rich, poor. Yeah. This is England.
This is a lot of difference.
In the 60s we talked about the melting pot. You heard the melting pot? We all go in together.
Yeah.
And we all come out equal.
because it shows that we are a multicultural society now. We're no longer English.
Church Street was not all that busy, and then it became more and more busy.
This building used to be a department store. Used to call Jordan, like Marks and Spencer. This was like that many years ago. I think 1970s changed over to Alpha's Antique Market. If you go next door, there's a blank, on the tiles, there is written Jordan, so still the old name still exists. And this, it was all one unit, though, the ground floor upstairs like that, and a small storage, small places. They sell clothes, shoes, whatever.
Well, there were so many gangs. Even the taxi drivers wouldn't drive in here. They were frightened that they were going to get mugged or whatever. So it used to be quite difficult. We never used to go out at night. I'm going back quite a few years now, though, about 1990 something. So it's changed a lot. It's much better.
The market was bigger. There was this Bell Street market at the back. That was another market. They removed that. Some of the shops have gone. Some of the market traders have gone. These hyper stores, these superstores have done away with. The street market's a Victorian market. Nowadays we have the American shopping malls, just replacing markets.
Right.
So the whole of society's changed, as well as this neighbourhood.
Right, okay.
It has changed, and so we've got some cheap clothing and so on, but you'd be surprised what you find on those stores.
The market's still here, but it's not as good as it used to be.
Okay.
You see many gaps.
Yeah.
And the stuff is not the same as it used to be, because you can go to Primark or Tesco's or Asda or any of these big shopping malls.
Up the hill, the Petropower water, Royal Jill forgot a pill and come down with a daughter. All registered on the day. Over there, 2 and 3. Useless? You'll give me £2 for it, won't you? No? I'll make you say yes. I will. I'll make you say yes. I'm going to charge you 30 shillings. Is that all right?
It was all English and Irish people. They ran churches and there was everything in them that you wanted. They were selling it. Televisions, wirelesses, everything. But not no more now. It's all rubbish now they're selling.
30 years ago they used to sell bicycles, furniture in Bell Street. You could buy an old sideboard, which you can't buy now. You can't even buy a bicycle unless you go to a bicycle shop. Some markets have sold pets and things, toys, antiques. We still have antique market up there, Alfie's market, that's still there. And some of the goods, like coats, boots, shoes, fruit and veg is number one. Food is number one. They still sell a lot of fruit and veg and potatoes and things, because people have to eat.
Right.
You don't need 3 or 4 pairs of shoes, but you've got to eat.
By 1977, we started working in London, in the hotel, and my husband is a barman and me as a waitress. But by 1986, it so happened that I landed working in the city of London as a waitress in the mansion house, which is the residential home of the Lord Mayor of the city, a private residential home of the Lord Mayor of the city of London. I have worked there until 1986, until 2006, and I have retired. Being the number one waitress in the mansion house, I have served all the royal families when they are invited there. I have served all the diplomats like Nelson Mandela. And from there, I was given or afforded the Freeman of the City of London. by the Lord Mayors of the City of London. And I was so grateful that I became the first Filipina to be afforded the freeman of the City of London. Now, my 4 children in here, they have gone to college as well. And they have their own lives. And while we were in this Listen Green estate, we were given a very nice place that my children are accessible to their education and to the place where we are living, that they can see nice people living in the community. That even that we have a very good, really the church street is really a very good place to live. It's very, I do not know, it's a very heaven place for us. Because if we say, oh, you go there and buy things like that, a very nice place to live in. So we have loved the place, that even though my children are out now, here, still my husband and I, we will never give up the place where we are living, because we found it as a heaven place for the family that we have put up since we arrived in this country. The community, it had been, it become more, I could not explain it in English, that it become more, it's a lot of people living in this country, that all the nationalities that are living in this country, they go together and they have a good relationship. That even me, sometimes if our group will be invited to the Bangladesh group or what, we can do the dances or the things, the body conditioning that we do in our over 50s. And it makes me happy to do all these things. I only do exercises in the over 50s where I am now. And all these over 50s that I am looking after for the exercises and body conditioning, I have done it for the past 7 years. And it makes me so happy that up to now, it will be treasured for me. And maybe I can make a history of my life with all these things that I have done in this country.
I used to be a butcher in Bell Street, which is 2 streets down from Church Street, and I was there for approximately 30 years in the shop. We had to close down. The boss died, so we closed down. And then I developed a brain tumour, and I had to retire, early retirement, and so I couldn't work anymore. And now I'm doing volunteer work in a pet shop in Church Street. We don't sell pets, we just do pet foods, bedding, everything like that, and all the profit we make we put back into the community. This year so far we've bought one of the local schools £1,000 worth of musical equipment. We paid for some Jubilee parties in the local area, and we've also given the hub number 60 Penfold Street £500 to take the old age pensioners out for a day at Eastbourne. So yeah, we're doing pretty good with the money. People from outside the area are also coming in, and we're quite busy. Well, we are busy. It's all volunteer run, all volunteers run it. We've got, I think there's 5 of us at the moment. I was a member of the PDT with Paddington Development Trust, and I was on the board. You know, it's just a pop-in centre that generally helps the area, which was a great sad thing when they lost the funding. That's why we opened the pet shop, to get a bit of money coming in for the area. We had a double shop down in Bell Street. There was the butcher's on one side and a delicatessen come a little grocery shop on the other side, sold bacon, ham and all that type of thing. I was in charge of that for about 20 years. Yeah, but it was just a really good, friendly business down there. It was really good. We used to know all the locals. Church Street itself's not changed. It's changed, the stalls and that have changed. I mean, the guys used to shout out their wares and the prices, which they don't do anymore. And there was a more varied stalls, not just sort of clothing stalls, which seems to be a lot now, but there used to be guys selling crockery, pots and pans, and all that sort of thing. That's the main sort of changes. We've got such a thing now as what they call a pound stalls in Church Street, and you get quite a lot of the older generation moan about it, but the thing is, it does bring trade into Church Street. People come to Church Street just for these pound stalls, and I mean, you can get some good bargains from these stalls. The changes of Church Street just recently sort of come on, probably the last 10, 12 years. The main change is the Futures plan, which they're trying to get into Church Street, which is pull some of the older building down and put some new stuff up. Whether it'll ever happen or not, I don't know, but that's what they're trying to do. And 6 to 8 years that it's really become a diverse area. Probably 6 to 8 years it's really got heavy now. I think it's beneficial to the area in some aspects. Obviously you've got the older people that, but no, I think it's definitely beneficial for the area because it's bringing new life into the area, it's bringing new people in. There is a housing thing, obviously there's a housing shortage in the area, which is hopefully within 15 years should be solved, so the council tell us. But no, the culture's very good. I mean, I've got Muslim neighbours, and they're really good. When my wife passed away 4 years ago, I couldn't have asked for better people. They were absolutely amazing. And I'd like to see the area basically cleaned up. I find the council are lacking in that. The road, the viola, the people that see to the cleaning up at night, they're very good. But it's just the buildings I'd like to see painted. There's a white rim goes right around along the top of the shops. I think that was probably painted about 10 years ago, and it looks so grubby. I'd just like to see Church Street cleaned up. I'll give them a few quid to clean the place up a bit. I'd just like to win that 148 million last week, and I would have certainly helped the people of Church Street. That would be my dream, actually, to open that neighbourhood centre and get the full staff back employed in there. That would be amazing, absolutely amazing.
Church Street is good, people that, they can save more money, you can buy £1 fruits, anything. If you go like Tesco or Waitrose, people can save a lot of money if they come here. It's the same, it's fresh and they can select what kind of fruits, or fish or vegetable, clothes, anything you can find here in Church Street. People want to save their money, everything here. You can come here anytime.
We are a fighter here because we fight about the weather, cold and hot, under the store all the time. It's quite a hard job, but I enjoy it.
A lot of positives. First of all, it's very densely populated. It's a very cosmopolitan population here, which is very good. And it's amazing how everybody lives with each other. The market is a very good pull, and the market is excellent actually. It is a unique market in London.
One majority antique market, different types of antique, of course.
Yeah.
I do watches and prints. Other people, he used to do watercolors. There is a next door, they do clothes, vintage clothes.
Yeah.
each person has their own, you know.
I took up in the community centre. I started the club, the Over 50s Club, and from about 6 people, we're now about 100 members, and they all have a very good time.
I do go to all the activities in the local clubs and things. I have been learning a lot of dances, but I'm no good, but I do it for exercise. Yeah. And I do dancing in Painful House in Greenside, and I do Zumba in Seymour Hall every Sunday.
We're always down Church Street in the coffee bars and having lunch and things like that. So we all meet up, all the friends from Bison Green.
It's busier now. It's a lot busier now than it used to be. I think it's probably, it's 10 times as busy as it was 13 years ago, and it actually turns over 10 times the amount of money it did 13 years ago. It's a nice 60s functionalist, groovy building for doing stuff in, and it works. Central London theatre like this, I would never get built again. It's a brilliant place. I just fell in love with it, and everybody else here loves it so much. It's just a great, great, great building. It was called, I think when they built it in the 70s, it was called the Gateforth Street Youth Arts Centre, because it was specifically designed for young people at the time to put on shows and get to grips with the performance space. So it has some very good and interesting attributes. The more people around here that come to use us seriously, the better. But we're a professional venue, and we're not funded, apart from the fact that we have this very indulgent yet sensible parent called City of Westminster College. Church Street was a deprived area and didn't have anything else, and there was no youth art at the time. There was no youth arts resource in Upper Westminster, North Westminster. And it was built by ILEA. It was built for political reasons. ILEA was the Inner London Education Authority, who built it to provide a facility for young people to negotiate popular culture and come to grips with expressive media, which was something that was thought to be a good idea at the time. And it was very successful. They used to have 32 staff here, just to enable people that lived locally to come through here and do stuff. You can say a community is a locality, but actually it also divides laterally, because you've got an Irish community. The back of this building is the Marylebone Bangladeshi Society. Most of the people that work in, a lot of the people that work in Church Street are antiques dealers. There's a Jewish community. A lot of the people that work in the Church Street are also Islamic or from the Indian subcontinent. There's endless different communities around here, so the whole place maps in a very complicated way, because it is also a locale. It's an area. It's bounded by Edgware Road, by Lisson Grove, as you know. So you've got this particular area. So it means different things to different people. To local primary schools, it means somewhere where they go and see pantomimes. To some local jazz musicians, young jazz musicians, it means the only place they go where they can play jazz, because you can't practice the saxophone in a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom council flat very well without upsetting your mum and dad. Increasingly, there are people that come to events here, just theatre goers that like it, and we also do events. We have done things, and we will continue to do Maqam, which is a Middle Eastern musical form. We do a lot of that. We've done the Arabian Nights in Arabic. We do, and I like to do shows in foreign languages. So we've done shows in French, we've done shows in Portuguese, we've done shows in Chinese, because there are those different communities around it. And we increasingly, I think, we'll do stuff because the area's changed no end because there's a sort of big Muslim Islamic population here now, and we'll do stuff that they relate to. We've done Iraqi theatre, we've done Iranian theatre. So all those communities know us from their particular angle, I'd say. But as a locale, as a centre, it's probably the jazz and the pantomime that most people know about, if indeed they know about anything. There's a lot of people around here to whom are not interested in us, but that's fine, you know. So, but increasingly there are people that are. So, and I like the extent of the below the radar activity that there is in Church Street. I love the fact that there is a huge amount of social capital here, by which I mean there are people doing things that are the eyes and ears and innovators of the area in small ways. So, for example, the man that brings his stall in to do the Moroccan food in the market that's come from another market is actually serving a market of Moroccans within a market, a multicultural or a cosmopolitan market. But also he's established a relationship with the man that runs the grocery shop over the road. So it's a very human area. There's a lot of human scale activity here. Outfits like Urban Regeneration, places like the Showroom, places like the Listen Grove Gallery, there's a cultural industries level of activity here. There's also the street market itself with at least three different distinct markets in it, which is the antiques market, the old established Church Street, which is probably a white working class market, fruit and veg, and long established very effective market, and now a kind of a cosmopolitan layer on top of that, which is to do with clothes.
New homes, new buildings. It's a partnership between the public sector, which would be the council, and the private sector, which are investors, and somehow the policy of the government is to make the private sector drive regeneration by partnership with the public sector. And so that's basically what regeneration is all about. Private-public partnership, out of which Church Street gets a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of actually repairing, you know. They actually, you know, this was a pub, now it's a restaurant, they've done a repair. There are lots of houses, you know, blocks of flat is redecorated, lots of food, blocks of flats.
They don't take the brilliance of an idea. Simple things are required, and they're not being done, implemented, or anything.
It's nice. The more they do it, the better it is. It's better for the people as well as for the customers, for the tourists. They come and they take photographs of the places.
I would change. Yeah, I would make the place more smarter. It demands it because we are very near West End. The other side we are enclaved by St. John's Wood and the Paddington Basin. Yeah, so I think it would be a plus point to smarten up the area and get some quality shops.
It's like I was one of those mugs who sat here in the 70s city plan. I've still got the book from 1976 with the city plan. It wasn't implemented. All it left was years and years of planning blight because it didn't match the city plan. And now we've got the same nonsense coming out now. The new city plan, the new revitalisations around Church Street. Are we living in dreamland?
That it's time that they raise the standards of living here and hopefully increase the general wealth and prosperity of those residents that have lived here through countless generations of multiculturalism. It's about time, don't you think?
There's a lot of activity, there's a lot of human scale activity. What I don't like about the area is a threat to that, because there is a plan to redevelop the area. And I'm one of the people that are fairly certain that the extent of research on the commercial activity in the area is not going to be sufficient to adequately reflect or enhance the activity that's currently happening. So my fear is that a lot of that social capital will get swept away because of an insensitive top-down plan which doesn't sufficiently recognise what's working in Church Street, and that is rather concerned with just increasing housing densities. So I'm worried about that plan, and I'm worried that there is no effective audit of current commercial activity, partly because of the diversity of the area. It's very difficult to get the whole area together because there's so many different groups, because it isn't a community, it's a community of communities. Church Street is very much a community of communities. And it's as it is, it's pretty well, and no one ever says this, but I think it's an absolute model of the coexistence of different communities alongside each other. There is every nationality, every religion, every ethnic group and every class you can think of along Church Street. And if you were trying to design that, you couldn't design it. If you're trying to get that to work on purpose, no committee on earth is going to be able to put that together. If we're not careful, it's going to get taken apart and replaced with an urban desert, and then things might change. We might find it's less secure than it has become. I'm worried about it.